Good day, respected teacher and classmates. Thank you for watching me. I'm Yulieth Valencia, and today in our topic, we are going to be talking about the climate change, which is a very important topic for everybody. So let's start. So first at all, I want to clarify some key concepts before to go deep in the definition of what is climate change. So the first concept that I would like to clarify is the concept of weather, which refer to all the atmospheric conditions that occur locally, for example, in certain regions, or also in short periods of time. So it's not like long-term things or conditions that happen for long periods of time. No, are atmospheric activities that happen just in short periods of time. Like for example, the rain, for example, the thunderstorms, the floods, for example, or the snowstorms are for short periods of time. Other important and key concept for climate change is global warming. So in this case, global warming is a long term, that is the first difference with the weather, no? So global warming is a long-term heating of the Earth's climate system. So it started to occur after the pre-industrial period, after the industrial revolution. So that was in the period of 1850 and the 1900. So because of the industrial revolution, there were fossil fuel burning. So those gases produced by the fossil fuel burning increase the greenhouse gas level. So this increase of the greenhouse gas level was what did was or what is doing right now is that trap the heat into the atmosphere of the earth, as we can see here in this picture. So because of the increase of the greenhouse gas level, so the heat that is in the earth cannot go out completely, and because of that now we are suffering the consequences, which are the climate change. So what is the climate change, and which is the meaning, and which is the difference with the also with the before terms? So the climate change refer to long-term change in the average of the weather. Yes, so in this case it's a long-term change, but the difference with the global warming is that it can affect locally, regionally, or in a global sense. So not just regional or locally as with the global warming. For example, this these changes in the average of the weather can be due to two different process, for natural process or for human activities. In the case of the global warming, it was just because of human activities, because of the fossil fuel burning. But in this case, the climate change can be due to two different processes, natural or human activities. The natural process can be, for example, the volcanoes activities like the eruptions, no, or for example, the variation in Earth's orbit. So that also produce difference in the weather. Also, for example, the sun has changed itself, so he has different levels of energy, and that of course affect the climate in our earth. And for last, we have the human activities. So the human activities, we can reduce it in burning of fossil fuels, which we are going to talk in a deep way later. So let's talk about some evidence of the climate change, and all the consequences, of course, of the climate change. So, for example, now we can see in this chart, in the first chart here, oh, sorry, we can see that the carbon dioxide level has increased in the last 70 years from 280 parts per million to 400 parts per million. That is a really big change if we take into account that in all the 1950 years before, the average was between 280 and 300, so it's a big increase. In other half, in other hand, sorry, we have the rising temperature, which has increased also in 2.12 degrees Fahrenheit. So it is a high rise in the temperature, which affect, of course, all the nature, no, and all the animals and everything. And in other hand, we have the Greenland and the Antarctic ice sheets that the mass has been melting. So we have about 279 billion tons per year that we are losing. We are losing every year 279, which is a big amount, and that make that the global sea level also increase, and now we have an increase of 20 centimeters. And for last, we have, of course, the extreme events like floods, like forest fires, like thunderstorms, like hurricanes, like snowstorms that we can see everywhere right now due to this climate change. So, which are the greenhouses gas? The first one, which is the water vapor, which is natural and we cannot avoid it. But also we have the nitrous oxide or N2O, which are due to the fertilizers. So the fertilizers that our farmers or the agriculture industry use when they plant the vegetables and all the food that is more demanding. Also, the nitrous oxide is due to the soil cultivation practices. So also that is one of the reasons. And in other hand, we have the methane or CH4, which is due to the decomposition of our rubbish in the dumps. So it's important to remember that, for example, the plastic, it is spent about 450 years in order to be totally decomposed. And in other hand, we have also all the land that has been used for cultivation. In this case, for example, for rice crops. In this case, all the technical uses that the agricultors make to plant the rice create methane. Okay. And for last, we have the carbon dioxide or CO2. So the carbon dioxide, it comes from two different sources, natural process or human activities. In the natural process, we can find this carbon dioxide when we breathe, for example, in the respiration, or for the volcanoes eruptions. So when there are volcanoes eruptions, we can find this gas into the air, but also because of human activities like the deforestation, for example, and the use of the land to to cultivate, or for example because of the burning of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels, for example, we can find the ways of transport, the cars, the trains, the planes, which throw this gas through the air, or also the cattle raising. The cattle raising is one of the main reason, because we have too much carbon dioxide into the air. Because of that, I would like to talk about that iron more in a deep way. Important statistics about the cattle raising that maybe we didn't know. In this case, the cattle racing uses the 30% of the land surface. So a big amount of land is used to the cattle raising. And the 70% of the deforestation in Latin America is due to the cattle raising. And for last, the 14.55% of the greenhouse gases are produced also because of the cattle raising. That is the same amount that all the cars and trains and airplanes together. So the cattle raising has a big responsibility in all the producing of CO2. So what to do? What can we do in this case to fight against the climate change? First of all, save water, save electricity, because are resources that are not renewable. So we need to be careful. We need to save them. And for example, if we are taking a shower, we can just close the tap when we are putting our shampoo, and in that way we can save water in each action. Other tip is avoid to eat too much meat. Now that we know about the responsibility of cattle raising in the climate change, we need to be conscious and avoid to eat too much meat, and we can replace for other aliments. And of course, to recycle. Number 3, recycle, separate, and make a classification of our rubbish. In one thing we can put the organic, in one thing we can put the plastic, the paper, all the electronic things. A very responsible use and manage of our rubbish. Of course, number 4, reduce the waste of food. We have about the 70% of the food that we have in all over the world has been thrown away to the rubbish. So we need to be conscious of all like the all what we are paying because of the cultivation, because we are paying very expensive with our weather, because we are deforesting our lands just to cultivate our food. So we need to don't waste them. And of course, avoid to buy too many things. Reduce the consumption and reuse the things. Instead of throw it away, we can think of a second life for the things that we are thinking to throw away. And in that way, we can reduce, for example, the deforestation, in order to make a table that maybe we can just paint it and reuse it. And for last, it's maybe a little bit difficult, but we can try to use renewable energy. If we can put solar panels, that will be awesome. Okay, thank you so much, and until our next opportunity, bye bye.